It was supposed to be just a simple gift. Nothing too extravagant, nothing too ordinary either. But when it comes to Can Yaman, nothing is ever simple. The story of the secret gift from Italy that he never delivered has become one of the most whispered rumors in the fan community, a symbol of promises unkept and words that remained unsaid. And tonight, we are finally going to dive deep into what really happened, why this gift never reached its destination, and how it still haunts both Can and Demet to this day. Let's go back to the moment when everything seemed possible. Can Yaman was at the height of his Italian success. Rome had embraced him like one of their own, Milan opened its doors, and every corner cafe carried whispers of his name. During those years, he wasn't just an actor working abroad, he had become a phenomenon, a cultural bridge between Turkey and Italy. And in the middle of that whirlwind, there was Demet. She wasn't physically in Italy, but her presence was everywhere. Italian fans would bring her name up in interviews, journalists would hint at the magical connection between them, and Can himself, even when he tried to stay silent, couldn't hide the shadows in his eyes whenever her name appeared. It was in that atmosphere that the gift was chosen. A carefully crafted item, not flashy, but deeply meaningful. Something that spoke of memory, of intimacy, of a bond that was more than just a television script. According to people close to Can at the time, he spent days searching in a small artisan's shop tucked away in a side street of Rome. It was a place that didn't care about fame, a workshop where tradition mattered more than glamour. Can didn't go there as a celebrity, he went there as a man searching for the perfect token to express what words could not. The gift was wrapped with care, sealed in a box that only he and the artisan knew the weight of. It was supposed to travel, to cross borders, and to land in the hands of Demet. A reminder, perhaps, that even when oceans separated them, he still thought of her. But here is where the story takes its turn. The gift never arrived. It remained hidden, locked away, forgotten by the world but never erased from his memory. And for Demet, the absence of that gift became louder than any words. Because sometimes, it's not about what you give, it's about what you choose not to. And so, the question remains, why did Can Yaman never deliver the gift? Was it fear? Was it timing? Or was it the weight of a love that had become too heavy to carry across borders? For Demet, silence has always been louder than words. She once confessed in an interview that the hardest part of love is not the arguments, not the misunderstandings, but the silence that follows when you expect something, and nothing comes. And this gift from Italy became the perfect symbol of that silence. Imagine this. Demet is in Istanbul, her career blooming, cameras chasing her every move. She's smiling, yes, but behind those smiles there is a restlessness. She knows that in Rome, in Milan, in every Italian headline, Can's name is tied to hers. She knows he hasn't forgotten, how could he? But she also knows that something has changed. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and still, nothing arrives. No sign, no token, no reassurance. Only the echo of what used to be. Insiders close to Can have often whispered that the gift remained in his apartment in Rome. Still wrapped. Untouched. Waiting. Some said he couldn't bring himself to send it, that every time he looked at it, he felt the weight of everything they had lived, and everything they had lost. Others claimed he planned to give it in person, but that moment never came. And so, the box became a ghost, sitting silently in a corner, carrying all the words he could never say. Fans noticed the tension too. In interviews, whenever Demet's name slipped into the conversation, Can would smile politely, but his eyes betrayed him. They carried a story untold. And Demet, whenever asked about Italy, would shift the subject with elegance, but for those who knew her, there was always a flicker of something unspoken. It was as if both of them were guarding the same secret, but from opposite sides of the world. The cruel irony was that the gift itself wasn't about extravagance. It wasn't diamonds, it wasn't luxury, it was something simple, almost fragile. Something that carried a personal meaning only the two of them would understand. Perhaps that was the real reason he hesitated. Because once delivered, it would mean opening a door they had both tried so hard to close. And so, time kept moving. Projects came and went. New faces entered their lives. Yet the absence of that gift remained like a silent witness to a love that never found closure. To Demet, the missing gesture became an answer in itself, that sometimes love is not taken away by betrayal or distance, but by hesitation. And for Can, the unopened box was both a comfort and a curse, proof that he had once wanted to say more, but also proof that he never did. That is why this story resonates so much with fans. Because it is not just about a gift. It is about everything we keep hidden. The messages we never send. The calls we never return. The words we swallow because we are too afraid of what they might mean. Can Yaman's secret gift from Italy is, in the end, a mirror for all of us, a reminder of the love stories we left unfinished. The story of the gift didn't just stay between them, it slowly began to live in the imagination of fans. Every photograph of Can walking through the streets of Rome with a paper bag in hand, every moment he seemed lost in thought during an interview, became fuel for speculation. People asked, was that the moment he bought it? Was that the gift he never gave? In the world of celebrity, even the smallest gestures can become loaded with meaning, and this one carried the weight of 1,000 unsaid words. Meanwhile, Demet was building her own empire. New projects, new premieres, new interviews. Yet, whenever her smile appeared on screen, some fans couldn't help but notice the shadow behind it. Because deep down, people understood that success doesn't erase memory. You can walk into the brightest spotlight, but the echo of what was left behind still follows you. Close friends of Demet later admitted that she sometimes mentioned Italy in private conversations. Not in anger, not in regret, but in that soft tone people use when they speak of something unfinished. She never said gift, never named it. But she once confessed, "I think the hardest part is waiting for something you know will never come." Those words struck deeply because they weren't just about a present. They were about closure. And then came the most painful twist, rumors that Can wanted to deliver the gift personally, during one of his brief returns to Turkey. But timing betrayed him. Life moved too quickly. Schedules clashed. Opportunities slipped away. What was once just a delayed gesture became, with each passing month, an impossible one. The gift, still wrapped, became a silent prison. For Can, it was a constant reminder of what he owed but never gave. For Demet, it was an invisible absence, a question mark that followed her through every red carpet. It wasn't betrayal. It wasn't lies. It was something much colder, hesitation. The kind of hesitation that eats away at love until nothing remains but what if. Fans across the world built their own theories. Some believed the box contained jewelry, perhaps a necklace that matched the one she once wore during their most famous scenes together. Others imagined it was a handwritten letter, something more intimate than any ring or diamond. A confession, maybe. A last attempt to bridge the distance. The truth, of course, remained locked away with Can, and that made the mystery even heavier. Because the real tragedy was not what the gift was, but what it represented. It stood for a promise unfulfilled. A gesture left hanging in the air. And for two people who had once shared the most intense chemistry on screen, the absence of that one small box became bigger than anything they had ever said in public. By the time Can's Italian career reached its peak, the gift was no longer just a box in a Roman apartment. It had become a secret he carried with him everywhere he went. On set, during interviews, even at glamorous events, behind the flash of cameras, he knew that one small object still tied him to a past he couldn't escape. And Demet, though she never held it in her hands, felt its weight all the same. Time has a cruel way of transforming simple objects into symbols. What could have been just a box, a gesture, became something else entirely. For Can, the secret gift from Italy turned into a weight he carried in silence. For Demet, it was the absence that spoke louder than presence. And for the fans, it became a legend, the untold story behind their love that never found closure. People close to Can describe how he would sometimes sit quietly in his Rome apartment, staring at the box. They say he wasn't looking at the object itself, but at what it represented. Inside was not just a gift, inside was everything he could not say. The late-night thoughts, the regrets, the moments he wished he had acted differently. And perhaps, deep down, he knew that if Demet ever opened it, she would see the truth that he tried so hard to hide. Demet, on the other side, carried her silence differently. She had mastered the art of moving forward, of smiling for the cameras, of telling the world that she was strong. Yet, in rare interviews, when asked about unfinished stories, she let slip a few words that revealed more than she intended. Not everything ends with goodbye. Some things just stay, unfinished. And everyone who heard it wondered if she was speaking of him, and of the gift that never came. The tragedy is that both of them were right in their own ways. Can thought he was protecting her, or maybe himself, by keeping the box closed, by holding back. Demet thought the silence was the answer, that his hesitation meant more than any gesture could. And so, between the two of them, love remained like that box, sealed, untouched, but heavy with meaning. Years passed, and the secret gift became part of the folklore surrounding them. Fans began creating theories, writing posts, even drawing sketches of what might be inside. Was it a necklace, echoing their most iconic scenes? Was it a letter, filled with words he never dared to say? Or maybe it was something smaller, simpler, something only the two of them would understand. The beauty and the pain of it is that no one will ever know. But here's the cruelest irony. Sometimes, not delivering a gift hurts more than delivering the wrong one. Because an action carries its own message. And in this case, it carried a message that echoed across oceans, across years, that their story was never truly finished, but it also could never begin again. And even now, when Can walks the streets of Rome or Milan, fans say there's a certain melancholy in his expression, as if he's carrying something unresolved. And when Demet appears on screen, shining brighter than ever, there's always that flicker in her eyes, a flicker that reminds people she, too, remembers. The gift may never be opened. It may remain forever in the shadows of their past. But its story continues to live, whispered between fans, written in headlines, and carried in the hearts of those who believed in them. Because sometimes, the things we never give become the most unforgettable of all. By the time the whispers of the gift became part of the myth surrounding Can and Demet, their lives had already taken different paths. He was conquering Italy, stepping onto international stages, turning himself into a brand that crossed borders. She was redefining herself in Turkey, proving to the world that she was more than just one role, more than just one love story. Yet, despite the distance, despite the years, that unopened box in Rome connected them in ways they could never fully erase. Some insiders claimed that Can eventually locked the gift away, hidden in a drawer he rarely touched. But there were moments, late at night, when the city outside his window grew quiet, that he would take it out, hold it in his hands, and feel the weight of everything he never said. It wasn't just about her anymore. It was about him too, about the man he used to be, about the choices he had made, about the words he had swallowed. And Demet, though she never received it, carried its absence like a shadow. Every time she was asked about him, every time his name found its way back into her world, there was a hesitation in her eyes, as if she was remembering the moment she realized the gift would never come. That realization had shaped her, teaching her that sometimes closure doesn't come with answers, sometimes it comes with silence. For fans, the gift became the perfect metaphor. It was the story of two people who shared something extraordinary, but who also allowed hesitation, distance, and fear to steal what could have been. It was about the unspoken promises, the unread letters, the love that remained unfinished. And that is why the story of Can Yaman's secret gift from Italy still resonates so deeply today. Because it reminds us of our own unfinished stories, of the words we never said, of the goodbyes we never gave, of the chances we never took. In the end, the box remains closed. The gift remains undelivered. And maybe that is how it was always meant to be. Because some love stories are not meant to end with grand gestures, they are meant to linger in the silence, in the mystery, in the what-if. And for Can Yaman and Demet Özdemir, that secret gift from Italy will forever remain the symbol of everything they shared, and everything they lost.